Ping Pong and Cashern might be a bit bonkers, but the next two movies could emanate only from a culture that habitually bets on fights between stag beetles. The first is Wild Zero, a rock and roll roller coaster in which the real-life retro rockers Guitar Wolf romp through a mutant invasion by destroying any and all undead beings that threaten to dampen the vibe. Their signature weapons are energy blasto guitar picks. And their terrifying battle cry... Sometimes a film's premise is so loopy that it seems to have been conceived on a drunken dare in an Italian restaurant. Like, choose a random appetizer, see what's on the telly, that's your movie. And so, I give you... The Calamari Wrestler. It's a typical sports biopic about the trials and tribulations of a champion wrestler, one who's been reincarnated as, or perhaps swallowed by, a giant squid. There's the adoring girl, the jealous rival, and of course the constant challengers to his title. As with all the best sporting picks, you don't have to be a fan of wrestling to love the Calamari Wrestler. In fact, it probably helps not to be one. Those were my pick of the new crop. They're fun, they're entertaining, they're cool. But I'm not sure they'll be exerting a Kurosawaian influence on the West. In fact, it's beginning to look as if these cinematic influences might these days be flowing the other way, the wrong way, as far as I'm concerned. I worry that Japan's fascination with the West and its obvious catering to the otaku or techno freaks might lead its younger filmmakers to lose that special ingredient, that cultural wasabi that makes Japanese films so extraordinary. There is, however, at least one fella who's still making films that are distinctively Japanese. A music video director who's turned to feature films, Shunji Iwai describes himself as an Ezo Saka, or video artist. He's big here in Japan, but he hasn't yet caught on in the West, which is a shame because he has a lot of work out there for us to catch up on. Iwai's best-known film started life as an internet discussion site dedicated to a fictional pop creation named Lily Choo Choo. He first released it as a CD-ROM novel, whatever that is, then as a novel, as in words on a page, and finally as Japan's first major feature to be shot on video.
This film is basically interpreting his tragic daily life of losing his ground endlessly. I never worked on a film so tough by its substance before, but I reckon it is the best film I have made so far, and my favorite as well. Do you know what? Since I started to work in the film industry, I have become so obsessed with my filmmaking that I can't remember any of my domestic life details. But what is amazing is that if I watch a film that I have made, like Lily Choo Choo, then it has everything in it. Everything that I couldn't remember is there on the screen.
Shunji Iwai's work is probably not to everyone's taste, but he's a significant talent and definitely one to watch. As I slide into middle age, my fondness for Japan, particularly its reverence for elders, continues to increase. One happy byproduct of this doju wo uyamao kokoro is that great filmmakers don't get put out to pasture after the age of 40 to make room for the latest pop video sensation. Which means that even when the new generation is going through a rough patch, the more established lot, and an inordinately talented bunch they are, is still going strong. In fact, you could say that old is the new new. Imagine, if you will, a man who is absolutely ubiquitous in his native country's media. He presents telly of all genres, from game shows to chat shows, plus a bit of radio, plus the occasional book and even magazine article. Sounds like a great guy already, right? But then you find out he's also an incredibly talented director and an actor with a De Niro-like screen presence and intensity. That, of course, rules out Shane Ritchie and leaves only Beat Takashi. When Beat Takashi Kitano directed his first film, Violent Cop, in 1989, he was widely known as Japan's most madcap funny man. Audiences didn't know how to react to this deadpan, super-violent character. It was akin to seeing Vic Reeves portraying Hannibal Lecter. And yet, Takeshi was utterly convincing, and in fact mesmerising, as a taciturn, dead-eyed killing machine. So much so that he reprised a similar role in such fine films as Boiling Point and Sonatine.
危ねえじゃねえかよバカ野郎この辺取んなかったかおい拳銃貸せ
「
じゃんけん。
なんすか？
じゃんけんだよ。お前もやれよ。うん？はい。じゃんけん。もう負けたな。
何するんですか？危ないじゃないですか。
じゃんけん。ほら、じゃんけんだろ、じゃんけん。また負け？
ちょっと待ってくださいよ。
じゃんけん。
危ないじゃないですか。最後じゃないですか。
最後だよ。じゃんけんでほら。ほら、じゃんけんぽい。